Hello, this is Dr. Grande. Today's question is, can I analyze the case of Max Azzarello? Just a reminder, I'm not diagnosing anybody in this video, only speculating about what could be happening in a situation like this. If you enjoyed this video, please like it, subscribe to my channel, and consider supporting me on Patreon. I'll put the link to Patreon in the description for this video. First, I'll look at the background of this case, move to the timeline of the incident, then offer my analysis. Maxwell Crosby Azzarello was born on April 11, 1987, and lived in St. Augustine, Florida. He went by the name Max. In 2009, he graduated from the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill with degrees in anthropology and public policy. He then went to Rutgers University in New Jersey, where, in 2012, he earned a master's degree in city and regional planning. According to his LinkedIn profile, Max held several different positions over the next 10 years or so. For example, he was a research assistant in New Jersey, an operations director for political campaigns in New York and California, a business consultant in New York, and a marketing operations manager and a senior consultant in Philadelphia. Max didn't stay in his positions very long. His longest tenure at any one job was 2 years and 4 months. On April 6, 2022, Max's mother, Elizabeth, died from chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. Just 10 days after this, Max started making bizarre online posts about conspiracy theories. Less than a year later, in March 2023, he identified himself as a research investigator. In early August of that same year, Max spent 3 days in a mental health treatment facility after he tipped a Starbucks barista $200 and wrote the words, "Go blank yourself," on the receipt. On August 19, a few days after being released, he had dinner at the Casa Monica Hotel on Cordova Street in St. Augustine, Florida. While he was in the lobby, he approached an autograph from former President Bill Clinton that was on display. Max threw a glass of wine on the autograph, which led to a police response. After admitting his behavior, the police gave him a break and did not arrest him. 2 days later, on August 21, Max returned to the hotel wearing only his underwear. He blasted music from a speaker and shouted profanities at horrified visitors. This time, Max was arrested. 3 days later, on August 24, Max vandalized signs belonging to a few businesses. One was a pest control company. He warned people passing by that the company was trying to exterminate children and dogs. After this, he climbed into the bed of a pickup truck and appeared to be searching for something. Once again, Max was arrested, this time for damaging property and criminal mischief. On October 3, 2023, he was released from jail and had to serve 180 days of probation. At the end of March 2024, Max moved into an apartment in St. Augustine. He parked his Toyota 4Runner outside, on which he wrote a few words about his beliefs. Now moving to the timeline of the incident. In mid-April 2024, Max made his way from Florida to New York City. He stayed in a hotel on Watt Street in Lower Manhattan. His family members were unaware that he was taking this journey. On April 19, he went to Collect Pond Park. This is across the street from the Manhattan Criminal Courthouse, where jury selection had just been completed in a criminal trial of Donald Trump. Max held a sign and threw pamphlets into the air. These pamphlets had the title, "The True History of the World, Haunted Carnival Edition," and contained quite a few conspiracy theories. They also featured links to an online newsletter written by Max titled The Ponzi Papers. At about 1:35 p.m., Max covered himself in denatured alcohol, which is a flammable substance often used as a solvent. Holding a lighter to his chest, Max caused alarm. People around him could see what he was about to do. After igniting the alcohol, the flames covering Max were put out by police officers with fire extinguishers. Max was transported to a hospital where he died at about 11 p.m. Now moving to my analysis. Here are my thoughts on a few areas that stood out to me in this case. Item number 1. It seems clear that Max was suffering from mental health symptoms right before his death, but he was not this way when he was in college. While Max was earning his master's degree, his classmates described him as creative, adventurous, and curious about social justice. He appeared to be pro-social, supportive, and fun-loving. For example, he liked performing karaoke with songs featured in Disney movies. One friend described Max as one of the smartest people he knew. It would appear as though the death of Max's mother in April 2022 was a turning point in his life. He became more outspoken and promoted bizarre conspiracy theories. It appeared as though his final act had been planned. Not long before his death, he told a friend of his that he wanted to be a political martyr. Item number 2. Max published a manifesto online called the Ponzi Papers, which contained several articles about his belief system. Here is a summary of what Max believed. Members of the public were victims of what he referred to as a totalitarian con. The U.S. government, along with many allies, were getting ready to unleash an apocalyptic, fascist world coup. Realizing that people might be skeptical, Max acknowledged that his claim sounded like a fantastical conspiracy theory, but insisted that he had proof in the form of a mountain of research. Max detailed his journey of discovery, like how he became a conspiracy theorist. After a bank run in March 2023, Max began to investigate online and discovered that cryptocurrency was involved. He uncovered a multi-trillion-dollar Ponzi scheme designed by rich and powerful people, who he referred to as the elites. The bank failures in March were intentional and were designed to move stolen money. This meant that the elites were no longer dumping cash into the Ponzi scheme to keep it afloat. When the Ponzi scheme failed, it would wipe out half the stock market. The evil conspirators behind this massive scam were safe because they would pull money out of the cryptocurrency exchanges. The gigantic size of the Ponzi scheme caused global inflation and was an economic doomsday device. In an effort to hide this threat, the elites unleashed COVID-19 on the world. Again, this is all according to Max. He did not believe that one particular political party was at fault. Rather, all politicians were on the same team. Both parties were run by financial criminals. He compared them to pro wrestlers. They act like they are enemies, but they are all making money together. Max identified a few politicians who he thought were involved, including George Bush, Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, Al Gore, and Donald Trump. Max believed that the elites needed to keep people depressed, anxious, lonely, hopeless, helpless, and misguided in order to maintain control. The media was one way the elites communicated this message of defeatism. Max cited examples like the TV show The Simpsons and the movies Easy Rider, Chinatown, and Wall Street. He also believed that Disney, the Manson family, and the Beatles were involved. The world is a depressing place because the elites were deceiving the public. The solution that Max put forward is for the world to develop critical thinking skills and piece together the true story of their circumstances. I hope that Max is not correct, because if the future of the world is dependent on developing critical thinking skills, humanity is doomed. Item number 3. What do I think happened in this case? This is just a theory, my opinion. Max had persecutory and paranoid delusions, many of which involved conspiracy theories. He touched on several assertions that are common among conspiracy theorists. One good example is how Max made bizarre and unfounded connections between unrelated events. In his manifesto, Max wrote about how he believed that a speech Bill Clinton made about Michael Dukakis was offensive. Furthermore, he felt that the actor Rob Lowe, who was a Michael Dukakis supporter, was a victim of a blackmail conspiracy. Max determined that this meant that Bill Clinton must have been behind the blackmail because he was associated with Jeffrey Epstein. The connections were not there in reality, but to Max, the events were linked to one another. He truly believed this. His level of conviction was 100%. Sometimes when people become psychotic, their experience of the world changes so that everything seems to open up. They are perceiving internal stimuli and see life from a completely different perspective. From their point of view, they are being flooded with new and frightening information. It's like they are wearing some type of special glasses, just like those featured in the popular alien infiltration film, They Live. Many conspiracy theorists connect with that movie. In his manifesto, Max even referred to the idea of looking through truth-colored glasses. I think what happened here is that Max felt like he had an epiphany and needed to warn the world about what he discovered. It is reasonable to believe that feelings, concerns, worries, and motivations that Max had when he was younger became distorted, expanded, and amplified in the form of the delusions. For instance, his intense interest in politics morphed into a fear of a global conspiracy. Item number 4. If Max was psychotic, what disorder could he have been suffering from? There are a few possibilities. A major mood disorder with psychotic features like major depressive disorder or bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, schizoaffective disorder, brief psychotic disorder, or delusional disorder. Let's take a look at each of these. A major mood disorder does not seem likely in this case because they typically do not have a rapid onset, although there was a theme of depression in what Max wrote. Schizophrenia or schizoaffective disorder seemed like good possibilities, but Max wasn't particularly disorganized and he didn't appear to have negative symptoms. It's possible that he was in the prodromal phase, which can last for a few years. A person in this phase often exhibits cluster A personality features, like magical thinking, paranoia, and unusual perceptions. Brief psychotic disorder is often conceptualized as a reaction to extreme stress, which is consistent with the effect that the death of Max's mother had on him. Finally, there is delusional disorder. Persecutory delusions are quite common with this disorder, and it has an average age of onset of 40. Max was 35 when he started having symptoms, and 37 when he died. There is no way to know which disorder was causing the psychosis, if in fact Max was psychotic. Schizophrenia, brief psychotic disorder, and delusional disorder would all be good guesses. Now moving to my final thoughts. Regardless of what illness caused the psychotic symptoms in this case, the outcome was tragic. Max was a victim of mental health symptoms who truly believed he was helping people. There was no effort to injure anyone else. Max was trying to save others from a danger that he believed was real. His message about a global conspiracy may not be helpful, but that doesn't mean there is no learning opportunity here. I think the most poignant warning that Max offered was the importance of taking psychosis seriously. Max was an intelligent individual with many interests and talents. Psychosis was able to use all those characteristics against him. There may not be any current danger from evil conspirators or elites, but psychosis is definitely an enemy that should not be underestimated. Those are my thoughts on the case of Max Azzarello. Please put any opinions and thoughts in the comment section. They always generate an interesting dialogue. As always, I hope you found my analysis of this topic to be informative. Thanks for watching.